Hey guys, and welcome to a quick little build showcase on my Invasion League starter. This is not gonna be a full in-depth guide about the build because there are a whole lot of really good seismic trap guides. I just wanted to show you with what I want and how my start went. So obviously with Christmas and family stuff going on, I didn't have that much time yet to play, but I still managed to get into maps and kill the first conquerors. So I'm 12 hours and 42 minutes in with maybe like 1 hour downtime, eating stuff and other things. So I'm currently level 77 and I killed 3 conquerors. I have 1 conqueror up, I'm going to showcase right now. And after that showcase I will go more in depth about the build itself. So the trap playstyle is yeah, pretty standard. It's not for everyone, but it's pretty chill. You just follow your traps and run. That's basically it. For clearing, I almost only use my exsanguinate traps that I have 5 link because of my boots. And for tougher rare mobs, I just throw 1 or 2 seismic traps and run. So with Atlas Invasion you have 5 additional bosses on every map. That can be any boss that is witnessed by Maven. So sometimes you encounter things like Aziri, Shaper, Elder, and also Shaper and Elder Guardians. They are pretty tough. The normal map bosses are not that tanky, so you basically one-shot them. But things like the Eradicator that has like immunity phases or Constrictor, they are kinda annoying from time to time. So that's why, even though I play softcore, I focus a lot more on defense that I would normally do, just because those random bosses can really wreck you. And the good thing about the Atlas Invasion is that basically any unique is not worth anything, at least the basic uniques. So you can get this build going super early. You're gonna have a 6 link super early because you can just use a tabula. I'm still using a tabula. And since you drop that many tabulas, you can also corrupt them for +2. The best possible +2 is probably trap and mine gems, because that will also increase the level of your support gems. But for now I don't have that many vials, so I'm still running on a duration one, because that still boosts my exsanguinate, my seismic trap damage. And it also increases the life tap support of my seismic trap. So yeah, that's basically the map clear. It's actually pretty fast in map clearing, and it's insane for bosses. That's why I went with this build. Normally I wouldn't say I don't enjoy playing Trapper, but I'm more like a zoomer guy, and although the map clear is pretty fast, it's not like the most insane map clear. But with encountering 5 bosses on every map, plus the map boss itself, you really want to have a decent amount of single target. Unless you just want to run past the bosses, but why even play Invasion then? And I went with a Scion, not a Saboteur, just because I want to abuse the Flask system as it is right now. Because who knows if it's gonna be in the game next league. I don't really think so. So for bossing, you basically just do throw your Seismic traps, Beer Trap, Curse, and Withering Step. And then you just wait for your Seismic Trap charges. I normally never or almost never use Exsanguinate against bosses, because it's just not dealing enough damage to be worth using. I much rather focus on dodging and running around. But as you can see, bosses are super fast down, and the map clear is also pretty decent. So for mandatory uniques, I would say the only mandatory unique is actually Deerstalkers. And you can get that in Act 3 actually. In Act 2, in late Act 2 or Act 3. I got mine in Act 3, the starting zone. And you can also just buy it for 1 chaos on trade. They are not worth anything. And once you have those boots, together with the Seismic trap setup, you're gonna be fine. You can just fully blast. So in the reason why we use these boots is because we can get a second trap setup with our single target and our AoE clear. So in those boots we have our AoE clear as a 5-link. That's Exsanguinate, Trap and Mine damage, Cluster Traps and Chain support. And then our main bossing setup is Seismic Trap, Advanced Traps, Trap and Mine damage, Unbound Ailments, Void Manipulation and Life Tap. So like I said, it's in a +2 duration tabula, a +2 Trap and Mine gems is even better. And then all the rest of my gear is basically just crowned rares I picked up. They are not even crafted yet, most of them. And I have a +1 Fizz shield I found in Act 1. Yeah, it basically has only +1 and like 30 resistances. And then I bought a Cold Iron Point. They are super cheap this league, even though it's pretty early still. They are 20 chaos. Or you can farm some Act 9 or Act 10 zones for them. And I'm currently using Magnate because it actually gives you the Flask charges again. That is pretty good for our build. All resistance, global fist damage, all the things we need basically. For our passive tree, it's a standard Seismic Trap tree with Mage Bane for spell suppression, some duration for the Seismic Trap, some more spell suppression, mana reservation efficiency for our auras, trap nodes, damage over time, evasion, life, chaos damage and movement speed, life, poison, life, spell suppression and life, more poison, ghost dance, life and DS, some more trap, chaos damage and skill effect duration, more chaos damage and more aura reservation. So I went with the poison Seismic Trap because I really like the damage over time thing about it, because it's pretty good in early game. Maybe later on I will switch to the crit version or stuff like that, but for early game you don't need any gear for poison scaling. For crit scaling you really want to have some basic crit on your gear. So for masteries we go for the classic reservation mastery, mana reservation and aura effect. For our poison mastery I went for 3. Actually you don't need those. you can also go for only one, because the only real important one you want is the poison duration, because the more poison duration you have, the easier it is when the bosses are moving. Because if you have the poison stacks on the boss and the boss moves, it will take longer. If you don't have the duration, when the bosses move a lot, the poison's gonna fall off and you're gonna deal no damage. But then I also choose to go for poisons you inflict deal damage faster and recover life on killing a poisoned enemy. Then for Chaos Mastery, the only real good Chaos Mastery, at least if it comes to damage, is the increased effect of Withered. We're gonna apply Withered with our Withering Step that we're gonna have up all the time. You can also go for Chaos Resistance on the second one, because we have one more here, or the Chaos Damage over time multi per Chaos Resistance, if you have a decent Chaos Resistance. For Trap Masteries, Summon Skitterbots, Mana Reservation, and Trap Trigger Area. The Trap Trigger Area is just quality of life, you don't really need it. For Life Masteries, 50 max life, 10% increased max life. All the other stuff is not good for us. Then for Evasion Mastery, Craze, increase reservation efficiency. And for Duration Mastery, more skill effect duration. So our current stats in Hideout without flasks are 72% physical damage reduction, 71% evade chance. Our resistance are actually capped with flask up, and we have this flask up every time. Chaos resistance is at 25. We have a little bit of block from the shield, and we have 69% spell suppression. I'm trying to get 100% on gear. That comes from an evasion based helmet, a better roll on the gloves, maybe also on the chest or on the shield, depends on how much I need. As far as the skill tree goes, I will travel over here to the Scion life wheel. I pick some more life. I maybe pick this wheel for some more life and the Flask Mastery. Maybe I'm going into the Flask Mastery depending on if I get my flasks. I could also go for a Cluster Jewel if I get a 9 passive physical one. Sorry, an 8 passive, because a 9 passive I actually got. I got that one. Yeah, I got a 9 passive Fizz cluster. You can use that and then use some mediums with chaos damage over time, or Trap and Mine with guerrilla tactics, depending on what you prefer. You don't need the cluster, but it's nice quality of life. You also get a lot of resistance from the Fizz cluster if you roll the resistance mod. And yeah, I currently have 90% chance to poison, and that's pretty much enough on the Seismic Trap, because you have so many hits with the Seismic Trap that you're gonna apply a lot of poisons. So there's not really a good way to get to 100%, because the skill tree is pretty limited on global chance to poison on it. We also use a goated shrapnel to get 25% more to get to the 90%. And you could also go for a second jewel slot and use one more goated shrapnel to get to 100%. But I think 90% is gonna be fine. I will see in the progression if I need 100%. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm gonna be streaming all the event on my Twitch. I will link that in the description. So if you wanna join and ask some questions, watch me play, or have any recommendations on the build, feel free to do so. I would appreciate a like on the video, comment down if you have any questions, any recommendations, or if you are playing the Gauntlet and playing the same build and have any ideas on how to get to 100% without that much investment. So, thank you all for watching and have a great Christmas day tomorrow, and see you on my stream, hopefully.